All right. Want to wait longer? We can wait longer.
Keep that in there.
Well, there's one blooper reel.
Yeah, or the beginning of the show. Hey, Internet, I'm Dan.
And I'm Chaz, and this is Wine is Serious Business episode
228.
God, I can never remember.
What are we drinking today?
We're drinking Oregon Pinot, which is my favorite to drink. And
nice.
So,
what vintage is your favorite to drink right now?
You know, that's a tough one. 2010s are drinking. Still just money. They were so good on release. But we've got some 2012s here, which I love to check out because it's the style of vintage that I think is going to appeal to my palate. Maybe not everyone else's. It's definitely a little bit of a riper vintage. The fruit got pretty ripe. It was a little bit of a warmer year, but I think there's good. I think there's good acidity and good structure in the wine. So generally, the ones I've seen so far. But we gifted some samples by the good people at Fire and Flood. Chapter 24 Vineyards, I guess is what they go by on the back label.
Yep.
And so we got to taste out there with Jessie Gordon. It was a great experience, right?
She's killing it. Follow follow Fire and Flood on Facebook.
Yeah.
Great social media stuff going on, and they're doing cool stuff to promote other people in the community too. Like, good presence both on social media and otherwise. So definitely check them out.
Totally. Yeah. So we got all 2012s here, and we're kind of just going to go through 3 of the wines for their lineup. So first one we're on is the Flood.
This is the Two Messengers.
Oh, the Two Messengers.
Yes.
Crap. My bad. Sorry.
That's okay.
So
the name Fire and Flood, like they're focused on wines from volcanic soils and sedimentary soils, which are the two main types in the Willamette Valley. And this being the Two Messengers is a blend of both, is what's going on here. They work with a lot of vineyards from the valley. They source some real primo fruit to put together for these wines, and this is the blend of both, and their entry level Pinot.
okay. Do you remember what the price point was on this one? In the 30s, high 30s,
Yeah,
low 40s,
something like that.
in there.
Yeah.
It smells wonderful. I mean,
Boy, this is nice. So we did open them up to make sure nothing was corked, and we ended up chatting, and I'm really glad we spent a little extra time because there's definitely
the aromatics.
The nose is definitely opened up here since the popping forward.
I know it's definitely got a little bit of that Oregon funkiness, a little bit of
earth going on.
A little bit of the earthiness going on in the nose, a little bit of maybe like clay soil, but really good, bright, red fruit, and it just smells wonderful. It's enjoyable to smell.
I'm getting like some dried cranberries in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice nose.
Dried cherries, dried cranberries, maybe just like a hint of like maybe some fresh raspberry in there. It smells awesome.
Nice and clean across the palate. Pretty straightforward, but I like about the flavors like they're present, but they stay delicate all the way across. There's like a good texture to everything.
Really juicy on contact for me, which I like. Right, definitely sort of like fresh pomegranate. Maybe a little. It's definitely not tending more towards. It's like maybe if it was going to go into red berries, even more like tart raspberry. But there's a good sense of juiciness. There's great acidity here. The tannins are I wouldn't say they're full, but they have a good sense of grip on the finish.
Yep.
Altogether, a pretty good wine for entry level wine. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah.
But as Dan said, it's sort of straightforward, right? The flavors are juicy. They're there. They're present. It doesn't go past that.
And all the flavors have like a good sense of elegance to them. I'd say, definitely the tannins. Man, pomegranate's just nailing it again. Right? There's that little bit of tannic texture that like sticks around late. It definitely is a little above the fruit, but there is kind of some delicate complexity going on. Right? The pomegranate, I'm getting a little bit of like darker strawberry, lingering late, and I do like how things stick around.
I agree, and maybe not the most completely integrated package yet. Like the tannins are definitely a little outside of the fruit. The acidity's in a nice place, honestly, for me currently, but definitely a little bit of abrasiveness to everything. I mean, I think this one maybe with sitting in a bottle for another 6 months to a year could do it wonders. But it's drinking nice now too.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's really getting me thinking about black earth. Really, like as I drink a few more sips, that's what's coming to mind. And so if you like the real earthy
black
wines,
earth or black tea or
no black earth, like dirt,
Okay.
Yeah,
dirtiness. Okay.
That's kind of what's sticking out. Not like the funky 4th or anything like that. Just like the clean black dirt.
Yeah.
Which is a cool suggestion. I know a lot of you guys watching eat that stuff up. So this might be right up your alley. For me, 88, I think.
That's exactly where I was going
Yeah.
with it. I mean, this is really delicious wine.
Structural elements are in a good place. Like the flavors are there. Like there's nothing that's really like jumping out and grabbing me, but good stuff going on. Interesting.
I really enjoy the nose. The palate, I think, it definitely could come around with given a little bit of time. So let's move to the second wine.
Move on to the second one.
Second wine, another 2012, which is awesome. The Fire.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like grabbing the bottles. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So
Had
this
a bit to drink already tonight.
this Chaz did a little research beforehand and this is mostly from the Eola Hills,
Yeah.
but some from Dundee. But again, this is the
balance.
volcanic soil, right? This is one of the main soil types. And come on. Okay.
We'll have you with that for.
Yeah.
I gotta drive you.
Whose weekend is it? Not mine.
That's right.
Not mine. But wine from volcanic soil.
This smells really good as well.
Yeah, right out of the gate.
And this one is not on the funky side or not on the earthy side as I had saw in the first wine, the Two Messengers.
Yep.
So this is definitely more fruit driven, dark fruited, and a little bit floral as well, but I'm gonna dig into it a little more.
And I'm still getting kind of like wetter earth on there for me, but it's not funky at all. I'm not
No,
getting,
yeah.
Yeah, like again, no forest floor,
No barn
rotten
hardy.
wood.
Yeah. No, it's just reminding me of like dark cherries, maybe like some old strawberries, and then like roses.
A little bit of barbecue sauce getting there too, just a hint, not a lot. Right, like some
yeah.
Zinfandels or whatever, you get like this crazy brown sugar that like that's not going on.
There's a touch of it in there. No, you made a great point.
A little of that spice.
A really interesting nose. I think there's
Yeah.
a lot going on in this, but it's all sort of subtle. It's not really that powerful. So that smells good.
And the palate just brings out what I really like about like these younger wines from volcanic soil. It's got kind of this like light, silky texture to it. It's so friendly right out of the gate.
Whoa.
I'm kind of amazed that this wine is a new release, just because like the acidity and the flavors really work well together already. I think the tannins definitely could do a little more integration, but like the front and the mid palate just really have this like lively, pure sense of fruit to it that I really enjoy.
Totally agree. Definitely, this is almost like you're stuffed, like your mouth full of fresh blackberries right off the vine, right?
Like you're
really
enjoying them so much, and you're like, let's pick 5 or 6 and eat the whole thing at once. Still.
Right, and there's a little bit of the dirtiness from like, it's a little bit dirty, but just juicy blackberry flavors, and really a sense of purity and a sense of a very focused flavor. That said, the acidity on the tail end of it is tart to the max for me.
Works for me.
All right, yeah. I don't know if you saw my face after the first drink, but it caught me off guard almost.
I did, and I was wondering, because I was talking
Yeah.
about the tannins at the time. I'm like, there's no way you're going to say this is too tannic. But the acidity is on the high end for you.
Zippy,
Sure.
a little zippy. That said, I think it works with the juiciness, and definitely for people that are, again, I've definitely taken some time to come to overly acidic wines or wines with high acid. Dan's always been there. So some of them still catch me off guard, and this is just right on that edge.
Sure.
Yeah. But otherwise, great flavors. I mean, the juiciness of the blackberries persists for a long time. There is some definite earthiness to the tannins, like the grit, the texture of the tannins is very nice. But yeah.
What really gets me about, so I like the higher acidity, and for me it kind of like feels alive, and I can totally see, if you're drinking with somebody that's kind of down on acidity, if you're personally down on acidity, maybe this isn't quite ready for you. But with some time, I bet it would get there. But I'm feeling it right now, and I get this really
lot of acid.
This really elegant, like dark strawberry and seeds flavor that just kind of lingers in the center of the palate and just kind of sits there gently while the acidity is kind of drying things out around, and that really does it for me. So yeah, 90 points, enjoyable. I'm impressed that something drinks this well, this quickly out of the gate, and I feel like at least short-term aging, I'll really enjoy it over 6 months, year, a couple years too. Like I don't know how this will go long term, but I have a hard time predicting that. But
I think there's good intensity to the flavor here.
Yeah.
And there's enough. I think the flavor intensity here is good. It's got all the acid that it needs, right? Like they always say, look for acid. Like I think you wouldn't have any problems aging this wine. That said, I'm not feeling as lively as Dan is about it. I think the flavors, while they're a little straightforward, but they're just overly delicious. I love that the blackberries on this wine. It's just fantastic. 88 plus for me.
Cool.
Just the acid is just a little too much, a little outside where I like my wine. So
Yeah, I like how it sits around. We're going to take a quick deviation because we've been getting some great comments on the main website lately. Yeah, we can do minutes while this goes on. And I just want to say thanks to everybody who's A, been watching the show on the website, and B, been commenting on the website. I mean, Facebook's good, YouTube's good, they're the big platforms, but Facebook especially, like, chokes us off, right? It's throttling us.
Big time.
We're going to try and hit that harder, right? To fan us up and make sure you like and share the videos.
Yep, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're just watching it, just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you watched one of the shows. That's awesome.
It's good. But shout outs and good information that I wanted to say. If you're not watching our show on the blog page, take a trip over there. The last 2 of the last 3 episodes have some great comments that I think will make it more enjoying. When we did the 2 Mosel Rieslings, we got great remarks from Jim Vandergriff, who said that he likes his cabinets aged 0 to 7 years, Spätlese 7 to 9 years, and Auslese 12 to 15. Those
Holy
are
shit.
He feels like those are the primary windows. So just good specific input, and also some great comments from Chris. A fan who actually watches from Germany, maintains a great blog site himself, wine-zeit at blogspot.de. If you speak German, definitely go check his site out. I don't speak German well enough to read it, but I still put it in Google Translate because he reviews Oregon Pinot Noir every once in a while.
That's awesome.
And he does great write-ups, and I love seeing what somebody from a completely removed area thinks of Oregon Pinot Noir. And as someone who drinks
I'll have to check that out.
Oregon Pinot Noir pretty regularly, I think his notes are cool, in line with what I've tasted, and are always interesting to read.
Awesome.
He said that he's got some favorite producers he likes to age. I'm sure if you're watching this, you're familiar with some of these. J.J. Prum, J.D. Becker, Maximin Grunhauser, Heyman Lowenstein, and Kartoiserhoff need time. He doesn't like to drink those young.
Yeah,
I'm inclined to
Kartoiserhoff's
agree
good.
with the few that I know, with the exception of Maximin Grunhauser. I'll drink those young.
Prum I'll get into,
Yeah, and he says that dry wines are more picky about their drinking window. Chick Wells came in with some great support. He's always been a fan. Some great comments. Probably good for a little chuckle if you get in there when you get to the end of it. And Dana Estep's commented twice. An old school fan from the East Coast who sent us samples from the Finger Lakes and is still watching the show. So
appreciate that.
This is like old fans sticking around, continuing to support the blog. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep cranking them out. So.
On to wine number 3, the Big Dog.
Yeah, this is the last chapter, as it's so named. So it comes from 4 vineyards. There's a few big names on there that we recognize, or at least Shea and Highland.
Yeah.
Those are the first 2 listed. Tresori?
Don't know it.
All right, and then DDL.
And I didn't think Highland fruit was for sale, so that's like a score. Like, these guys are getting into some high-end vineyards, and I don't know how many people whose first vintage contains fruit from Shea, right? Like, that's going hard, right? Like, that's definitely going for it.
Gotta know people who know people.
Yeah. So this is also a blend, but this is the top blend, right? Like, this is the selection of the wines that they want to be their top wine. So yeah.
And this is definitely on the most expensive wine they make.
Yep.
All right. So smells delicious.
Yeah. Earth's coming. Man, this is really being open for about 45 minutes has really done this a lot of good too.
Yeah.
It's still kind of delicate, but it's kind of combining things from both of them. I'm getting like the dark earth sense before, but I'm still getting plenty of fruit on the nose too, without any of them being like really overwhelming and like punching you.
Right. Really interesting aromas. I think there's man, the first 2 things that jump out at me are like dried strawberries and then a potpourri dish. Like getting a little bit of the woody potpourri thing, but like not like grandma's potpourri dish, like the one that is stinky and disgusting, but like just like a floral aspect, a dried floral aspect, maybe a little bit woody, and then really nice dried strawberry aromas.
Dried, that's it. Yeah, that's totally. Because I was like, yeah, it's a little darker than strawberries, a little more.
Like, and then maybe I drink it. I drink all kinds of tea, but the red tea thing definitely sticks in there just a little bit, right? Like there's a little bit of like darker aromas, maybe attributing to earth, but like the red tea thing kind of sort of sticks out a little bit too. But the aromas here are kind of all over the board. I mean, you can really sit there and sort of smell it and kind of get different things out of it as you and analyze it more. So.
And definitely on the darker edge of things too, right? Like I think of the three, like this is something that would not strike me as something coming from 2010 or 2011.
No,
right? This has a little more dark character to it.
I would agree. Yeah, the fruit is a little more apparent. I mean, there's a little more intensity to the nose, maybe in the first two, but it smells really good.
Yeah, and that sense of earth is really there, and that's not something I get. It's not a type of earth I get out of everything that I smell. It's kind of like a unique character throughout these wines.
Texturally kick-ass. Well done.
Wow. Again, boy, in a much better spot than it was on the pop and pour. I'm getting a good evolution of texture here. That's really cool. It starts out like kind of
Off
camera pour. Come on. Okay, it's
Good.
It starts out crisp and acidic, and then it kind of evolves to be a little more expansive and a little more kind of like blanketing, I guess, across the back of the palate.
Absolutely. And the cool thing about this wine, like this one, maybe it has as much or acid as the last wine. Like definitely like on the finish, like it's definitely tart and it's definitely acidic. But the way in which it applies that acid, like the fruit is there, it's juicy, the earthy and the fruit flavors early on, but the acid sort of comes in like slow and just kind of creeps across the cheeks and the tongue and goes right down the sides, and it's, yeah, anyway.
I'm so pumped. This worked out so well. Honestly, the first time I tasted this out in the tasting room, I didn't quite have this experience with it, and when we tasted it earlier, I wasn't getting this complexity, but I'm really seeing it right now. So I'm glad we, so I guess if you got a bottle of this, leave it open for a bit. We got this just above cellar temp probably before we started, before now.
Yeah, I
before
would say it's in the mid to high 60s at this point.
And I feel like this is a really good spot for it, so.
Agreed. I need to taste it again. Sorry, I keep getting caught off by the acidity because the structural elements of this wine are fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. So.
And very similar to the fire, like there's like this dried strawberry character, a little bit of earth flavor that kind of grows and sits in the center of the palate while the structural elements work along the sides, kind of fill things out. The structure's definitely a lot more elegant in this one than the previous wine, but a good sense of complexity, and it lasts. Boy, all of it kind of persists for a long time too.
We talked about mid-palate length, right? Like sometimes you can swallow a wine, it sort of feels like it's still there. This has a little bit of that going on, which is really nice. I really like the transitions of this wine because it really kind of is sort of ripe early on with I want to say like strawberry fruit, but it's not full strawberries, but it's more like got some riper cherries leading into like some more tart strawberries, but then like I taste like riper tart fruits in the finish, like
Sure.
white raspberry, cranberry.
Oh, wow.
Like it's transitionally, like I'm sitting there thinking about it going, this has sort of got that to it, and this has sort of got that to it. So there's just all kinds of really interesting flavors going on in this wine, all of them going through kind of a spectrum of fruit. Yeah, it's nice. Really well.
Yeah, really solid. I
see why they charge accordingly.
Yeah.
So it's good.
So yeah, so I'm going to go 91 points on it. I'm going to say it's a step up from this. I think the structure is more integrated. There's a little more complexity. The length is really there. This is a fantastic wine. I'll say definitely amongst the best young 2012s I've had. Not that I've had very many, and this is definitely kind of, this makes them outliers, I think, bringing the big dogs to the game this early, right? Like a lot of people are still just releasing entry levels, that's it. But a new winery, right? You gotta make the wine, you gotta get it out there. Shout out to the winemakers, that's right, we didn't mention that. This is the winemakers, it's a team effort, right? So Mikey Etzel, I guess younger Mike, who's had definitely some experience making wine with other projects, but has come to this, and he's working with Louis Michel Liger-Belair, right?
There we go, Liger-Belair.
All right.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
yeah.
Got it.
A famous producer in Burgundy. Chaz and I are not that experienced in Burgundy wine, so we don't have.
We're trying.
But we don't have the knowledge and the attachment to the producers and the labels over there.
Mm-hmm.
But I know he's involved in some great stuff, and I'm sure some of you are like, oh, that's super cool that he's working on Oregon wine. So,
Yeah.
So thanks to them for working together. I think this is a really cool collaborative effort.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, these wines all turned out really good, and they're all very, very different. I think. Like I like that. Yeah, 3 different wines that you've all blended, and they've come out very differently. But I didn't really actually score the last wine, did I?
No, you didn't. Yeah.
92 plus.
Whoa, going there. All right, going big. Nice.
Absolutely love this wine.
Wow, cool.
So it's right in line with what I like. Like it's complex, it's juicy, it's got great fruit, it's a little riper, but it backs it up with just great complexity and great tart, youthful fruit, and structurally fantastic, and texture's wonderful. Yeah, I love it. So it's good.
I want to say a big thanks again to Chapter 24 Vineyards, Fire and Flood, Jessie, for supplying us with these samples. This is definitely getting into stuff that we would not have spent the money on for a show, right? And we really appreciate the chance to taste stuff like this, share it with the audience. So thanks a lot. This has been a really great year for that. So thanks to all of you out there who have been supporting us. And I think that what we're doing is worth sharing samples with too.
Really, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap. Time for the question of the day. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it either. Name a tasting room in the Willamette Valley that you think we don't know about. So you can't name a winery that like we do on the show all the time. Like you know who some of our favorites are. Don't name one of those. Introduce us to a tasting room that we don't talk about nearly enough that we need to go visit these people and taste their wines.
That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to head out into the valley here in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, a couple weeks. So
Some more awesome
we'd love to
interviews.
hear some input. So
maybe we'll drop in. Maybe it'll happen that day. So
we're gonna have some more great interviews coming up out in the valley. And, I haven't been out in the valley in a long time, so I'm itching to get out there. So we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching the show.
Cheers.